Thank you to her. I know she's watching this morning. Before preschool, it's time for the lead block.
Time for the lead block.
Okay, big names of Super Bowl 55. They took the mic yesterday. Nobody can deliver the wisdom we need on a Friday morning, quite like Buccaneers coach Bruce Arians, though.
You can't hit a home run if you're going to swing for one. You can't do anything special in life sitting on a fence. And, the question back then was if there was a quarterback that was a free agent, who would you want? And yeah, of course it was Tom Brady, but not thinking he would become a free agent. But once he did, it was a pursuit that we wanted to make, and knew he had some interest. So, but again, if that's how you live life, I don't know, you sit and live in a closet and try to be safe, or you go have some damn fun.
All right, it's pretty safe to say the Bucs hit a home run with acquiring one Tom Brady, even with the Super Bowl still left to play. What is this whole situation, the whole thing that went down? Tom Brady's moved, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved to get him. What does it mean for the future of the NFL? Precedents have been set, potentially?
Yeah, but I think more so on an individual basis, players realize that they can control the narrative of the end of their career. When I first came in, I'm a fairly optimistic dude, so I wanted everything. I wanted to be a really good wide receiver. I wanted contracts. I wanted to make it to the Pro Bowl, make it into the playoffs, Super Bowl, have a long career, and then possibly walk away from the game healthy, everything the way I wanted. But then the reality started to set in once I started playing. It's like I see other players that I looked up to, and they're limping off into the sunset. Other guys never even touched the playoffs. Some dudes I met, including myself, never even made it to a Super Bowl. So you realize that the football gods are cruel in that way. They never usually let you do it your way. So when a player does, when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos and he won that Super Bowl, it's like, man, just love seeing somebody ride off into the sunset the right way. When everything started to fall apart in New England, we thought, man, even Tom Brady can't write his own narrative. But he did, though. He said, no, you guys think it's over. It's all good. I have somewhere I'm going. And not only do I have somewhere I'm going to go, but I'm going to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to make these guys relevant, and we are going to be in a Super Bowl again. Tom Brady knew that when he left New England. If he would have said that out loud, we would have called him crazy. But he kept it quiet, even though inside he knew he was going to return back.
I do it during the pandemic when I can't practice. I can't meet my teammates.
Unreal.
Learn a new offense.
Learn a new offense. So if I'm a player coming into the league, I'm looking at Tom Brady's historic career. I think one of the biggest things that stand out is that regardless of where you're drafted to, regardless of where you end up in your career, at the very end, you still have a chance to control your narrative. And I respect the hell out of that.
I have to push back.
Okay.
Is Brady not the outlier of all outliers where there's thousands of NFL players and maybe one of them in the history of the game can control the narrative? I mean,
For sure.
Nate, you were a great receiver. Your career ended where?
In Cleveland.
In when?
And they cut me.
In when? In August.
Yeah, before the season started.
You deserved a better finish than that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys do. So to me, the Brady thing, is it almost, do you want to give a piece of caution to some people saying, well, I could do what Brady does?
You're not Brady.
Yeah. No, you're right, 100%. But there's hope when you see that happening. But I get it. I mean, the reality is you can't do it like Brady does it because it's all circumstantial. Most of the time when you're a player outside the quarterback position, you have to lean on so many other variables. Brady controlled the narrative because he literally controls the game. He's touching the ball every play.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, though.
No, and I was saying it because it leads to my next point where it's like teams are the same way. I think we look at some of these teams and it's like, well, we drafted this quarterback in the top 10. We're going to ride with him for 5 years. And if it works out, it doesn't work out. But then we'll draft another one. And they never think like, let's just go really bold and make like a huge swing. Look at the Buccaneers the last 10 years. Look at the records that they have had.
What do we got?
This is disastrous football. 4-12, 7-9, 4-12, 2-4, 6-10. Pick your year. They all stunk. They were a terrible franchise the last decade.
Josh Freeman is the quarterback.
Josh Freeman, it was Josh McCown, then it was the Jameis years. And even at this point last year, we were like, look, Jameis threw 30 touchdowns. You might want to knock him for his picks, but like, how do you not bring back Jameis? At least franchise him, do a bridge contract, figure it out.
What's your option? What's your other?
The other option, and then I would hear throughout the combine, I remember being at a table with an executive being like, I hear Tampa's going for Teddy Bridgewater and they're going all in. And it's like, okay. Go for Tom Brady. Like, I look at these teams, and there's so many of them, whether it be Chicago or the Jets or the Rams or the 49ers. The window's this small. Like, if you can get a superstar,
Swing.
Go swing. Arian said it best. You don't live life in a closet. And if you're an NFL general manager, you've been working your entire life to get to that point where you can make those decisions. And Jason Light, the GM of the Buccaneers, he's already on to his third head coach. He's like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go all in. And let's try to get Tom Brady. They got him, and it worked out. It's a lesson for all these teams. It's okay to swing. You don't need to just be saddled with the quarterback you drafted in the top 5 because you drafted him in the top 5. It's okay to move on, and it's okay to make a big play. I love the aggressive nature of the Buccaneers, not just with Brady, but then saying, Antonio Brown? Sure, we'll go with him. Fournette? Fine, let's do it. And then the last one is, of course, Gronk saying, come out of retirement. We'll make it happen. I love the aggressive way they built this team, and it's paying off.
Shakes, I feel like you're talking about another team in the NFL.
There could be a few other teams.
I know, and we'll get to those.
Maybe it's true. Every NFL player that I know talk about this is always really jealous of the NBA and the way that the players can just leave and they can just bring all their money and they're gone. And I want to be on this team. They want to do that so badly. And I think there's a sense that Tom Brady kind of just did that in a way. Like, there is a kind of person who is going to want to do what Nate's talking about. Like, Brady, I want to do what Brady did. And there's definitely a danger in it in the sense that, like, your best friend gets out of a marriage and all of a sudden he's got a new wife or a new husband or whatever it is, and they're all over Facebook and they look so happy. Brady looked really happy this year. And I think there's a certain type. It is the person on the back nine of his career who's made a ton of money, who maybe he hasn't done the things he wants to do and wants to do that. And I look at someone like Matt Ryan. Is Matt Ryan ever getting back to the Super Bowl? I don't know, probably not. He's got a lot of business to prove. Does he want to just play the whole year in Atlanta? And I look at Rodgers. How can Rodgers, and we've had a few days to chew on this, how can Rodgers not think about changing locales when he was beaten by the guy who changed locales? As he's sitting there, Brady came in and is like, I got my new team, Rodgers. This is still the same old team you're with. I'm going to smack them around for a while, and they don't even draft to help you. So I think there's going to be some people who try to chase the Brady plan, and there's definitely going to be people who do it and fall on their face miserably. Like, don't go chasing Brady's. Don't go chasing goats because you will get destroyed. However, the impact on the league, I think there's going to be guys who say, hold on, Brady made a power move, said, screw it, I'm out of here, I'm an icon, and I don't care, and now he's in the Super Bowl. I want to do that. Call my agent and tell them that. I don't think this is the last one. I don't.
It normalizes it a little bit for Aaron. I mean, we heard Aaron Rodgers say it's always been my dream to play for the same franchise. Like, when you're a kid, that's what you look at. It sort of makes it okay to have guys go play somewhere else or have him understand that his future might not be in Green Bay at the end of the day. I like that it normalizes it a little bit. I ask you, Kyle, you say the guys on the back nine, which were actually Rodgers' quote, like that was his words about his career. Yeah. What about the younger guys? Like, won't it inspire them as well? Even though Deshaun Watson, who we'll talk about here shortly, even though he hasn't achieved what Brady has, don't you think he looks at what Brady did and say, I'm going to try, I want to go and I want to win. I want to go to a place that's a healthy environment for me personally to play in.
I think the players respect the power moves. And I come back to the NBA envy. Like, all of them see what James Harden just did. Yeah. And in Houston, of all places, or what LeBron does and all that. And the idea of having freedom and saying, I'm tired of this team, we're not going to win, I'm out of here. Yeah. I've heard them, to a man, say, I wish we could do that. So, yes, you have the old guys, and you definitely have Deshaun, who it looks like he may be on his way out, too.
It's a little different, of course. Tom Brady was a free agent. Deshaun Watson, that would have to be a trade. And that's where we bring in Ian Rappaport this morning. Happy Friday to you, Ian. news yesterday with Deshaun Watson and the Texans. What does it mean, not only for the city of Houston, that team, that franchise, of course, but for the rest of the league and that ripple effect?
Well, first of all, when you send up a signal like that, when Deshaun Watson officially asked for a trade from the Houston Texans, which, by the way, became public yesterday for me and others, but it was not something that was new to the Texans. They've known for more than a week that Deshaun Watson wanted out. There were some insinuations, and then they knew it officially. But, of course, when people across the league see it, those calls only intensify. But the reality is those calls were coming anyway. More than half of the league has been calling the Houston Texans, trying futilely as of right now to engage on potential trade talks with Deshaun Watson, or at least just to see what would it take. As of right now, this trade request, which is certainly significant, a franchise quarterback, a young player at the top of his game wanting out, obviously it is big news. But the fact that the Texans have not budged, the fact that they've said privately and publicly that this is our quarterback and they do not plan as of now to move away from him, means that this situation is basically what it is, except a little more public. We all know for sure that Watson wants out. What we do not know is whether the Texans will relent and let him have his decision and move elsewhere. We are probably going to get a news conference today from David Culley, the new head coach of the Houston Texans. We will see what he says, but my guess is that he probably says what Nick Caserio says, which is Deshaun Watson's my quarterback.
And of course, the timing of all of this is important because the hiring of Mr. Culley, of course, sent Twitter in a blaze. That's why Deshaun Watson wants out. We're correlating the two. This has happened weeks ago, just very quietly. So it's important to note that there are some teams interested. There are some teams that need to be interested in the services of Deshaun Watson. And we'll be breaking it down, giving our opinions and our side throughout the show today. Thanks so much, Ian, for the update there. And now we look ahead to Super Bowl, 9 days away in Rocket Mortgage. Super Bowl Squares is back. Millions.